Hi, I'm Greg Jones. Welcome to my Demystifying Modes video where I attempt to teach the subject of modes in a much simpler way, removing all of the unnecessary complexities that I see people teaching when they teach this subject, but retaining everything you need to be able to understand and play modes. So no compromises, but I'm going to just strip away a lot of excesses. This video is one of 3 videos, but if you just watch this first one only, at the end of it you should be able to understand modes and be able to practice them. But if you go to like the second mode video, I'll tell you how to use them better. The third one is for analytical types, for those of you who have studied modes in the past and maybe try to make sense of some of the excess baggage I'm saying I'm going to throw out to simplify things, and you want to know what's under the hood. That's what the third video is going to be about. So without further ado, let's proceed. First thing I want you to think of with modes is think of them in 2 categories, major modes and minor modes. So I'm going to do everything in the key of C major. When you practice modes, pick one key and stick to that. If you don't, you're going to be confused on the sound. You're not going to hear them very well. So I'm going to pick C major and C minor for my modes. So here's a C major chord. And I'm going to play a C major scale, which is also the modal name is C Ionian. I'm sure it's a familiar sound to you. Just a straight diatonic, just playing 1 octave. There's 2 other major modes. The next one is a major scale with a sharp 4, meaning the 4th scale degree, or F, C, D, E, F, is sharp. So it's going to have an F sharp in it. It's going to sound like this. Third mode is mixolydian, and it's the major scale with a flat 7. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is flatted. It's a B flat. Those are your 3 major modes. There's 3 minor modes. Let's play a minor scale, C minor. And here's the C minor scale, natural minor, also known as Aeolian. That's the modal name. So that should be familiar to most of you. If you're studying modes, I assume you know that basic stuff like that. Otherwise, you need to go back and learn that first, major and minor scales. Second minor mode is the Dorian. It's going to be the same scale I just played with the sharp 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's what is that? That's an A natural instead of A flat, right? Final major or minor mode is Phrygian. It's going to be C Phrygian is going to be a minor scale with a flat 2. So like that note. Did I play that right? Let me do that again. I think I played that wrong. Yeah, that note. Finally, there's a mode called Locrian. I don't play it as often. It's really based on a diminished scale or diminished chord. So it has a flatted 5th in it. You know, a diminished chord is a minor chord with a flat 5. So diminished mode, or Locrian mode, I should say, has a flat 5 in it. It's a, you can think of it as a minor scale with a flat 5, but it also has that flat 2 in it we heard in the Phrygian. So flat 2 and flat 5 is in this thing. It might help to play a C diminished chord. Hear that note? So you can better hear the sound of Locrian. And it's going to be like this. Here's the scale. Did I play that right? I think I... Yep, had to think about that for a second. I don't play that scale mode as often, that's why I had to stop and think about it. That's it as far as the modes. You just basically, what simplifies them is you think of them as being major modes and minor modes. You relate apples to apples and oranges to oranges. So you compare major modes and major scale, minor modes and minor scale. Why would you do that? Well, it helps you to process them. It helps you to emphasize the one note difference between its parent derivative scale. If you don't emphasize that note, you're going to have a harder time hearing it. The listener's going to have a harder time hearing the mode as well. So and notice I did everything in the key of C. You don't have to do C. C is a nice key as far as music theory, but just pick one key and do that. What you don't want to do is this, and this is a mistake that guitarists make, although this video is not just for guitarists. Maybe I'll get my fretboard closer to the camera. What guitarists do is they'll say, and I'll pick G major just because it's easy to visualize for those of you who know your scales well, is they'll say, this scale, G major at the 3rd position, is Ionian. And then they'll go to the 5th position and say this G major scale is Dorian. And then this one, 7th position, is Phrygian, etc. No, they're not. That's not correct. All you're doing is playing a G major scale starting on a different note. The whole time we're hearing the sound of G major. I'm not hearing a Phrygian sound there, okay? If that doesn't make any sense to you, go on to the next video where I talk about how to apply modes, and it will start to make sense. But basically, you got to say that's a guitar-centric thing. The listener hears G major. The listener doesn't know or care what area of the fretboard you are on. It sounds like G major. It doesn't have the modal sound, so that's incorrect way of thinking about it. I can play any of those modes at any position of the fretboard, and that's important to understand. You notice I played all those C ones at the 3rd position. See, so I'm not, calling different positions by modal names. That's confusing language. Don't do that, and you're not going to understand modes guitarists if you do that. All right. Go on to video 2. I'll talk to you about how to use modes. Thank you for watching.